Las Vegas, Nevada. International Hotel. June 23, 1973, 12:15 a.m. The midnight show is in full swing. Elvis Presley, dressed in his white jumpsuit with gold trim, is commanding the stage like only he can. 2,000 people are mesmerized by every move, every note, every gesture of the king of rock and roll. Elvis is singing Love Me Tender, his voice smooth and powerful when something catches his eye. Third row, seat 14. A woman sitting alone wearing a simple blue dress. But it's not just any woman. This woman looks exactly like someone who has been dead for 15 years. She looks like his mother, Gladys Presley. Elvis's voice falters mid-verse. The band notices immediately but keeps playing, thinking he's just taking a dramatic pause. But those closest to the stage can see something is wrong. Elvis's face has gone pale. His hands are trembling. The woman in the blue dress is looking directly at him with eyes full of love, compassion, and something that looks like pride. She's smiling the same smile that used to greet Elvis every morning when he was a boy in Tupelo, Mississippi. Elvis stops singing completely. The band stumbles to a halt. 2,000 people sit in confused silence, wondering what could possibly make Elvis Presley freeze mid-performance. This is creative storytelling inspired by the spiritual experiences many witnesses reported during Elvis's later Vegas years and his profound connection to his deceased mother. Elvis Aaron Presley was 11 months old when his twin brother Jesse Garon was stillborn. From his earliest memory, he carried the weight of being the survivor, the one who lived while his brother died. But if Jesse's death marked Elvis with sorrow, his mother's love marked him with strength. Gladys Love Presley was more than Elvis's mother, she was his universe. In the crushing poverty of Depression-era Mississippi, when Vernon Presley struggled to keep the family afloat, Gladys was the constant. She was the one who sang him to sleep, who walked him to school, who believed in his dreams when no one else would. "Elvis, honey," she would tell him when he was small, "you're special. God made you special for a reason. Don't you ever forget that." When Elvis was 13 and begged for a guitar instead of a bicycle for his birthday, Gladys convinced Vernon to make the purchase that would change music history. When Elvis was 18 and too shy to sing in public, Gladys pushed him to make his first recording at Sun Records. "Mama," Elvis told her after his first hit, "everything I do for you." "No, baby," Gladys replied. "You do it for yourself. I just want you to be happy." But fame changed everything. As Elvis's star rose, the demands on his time grew. Longer tours, more recording sessions, constant pressure from Colonel Parker to work harder, sell more, be bigger. Elvis tried to bring Gladys into his new world, buying her beautiful clothes, expensive jewelry, a mansion in Memphis. But Gladys never wanted any of it. She wanted her son back. She wanted the boy who used to sit with her on the porch, singing gospel songs and talking about everything and nothing. The stress of watching her son become something larger than life, something that belonged to the world instead of to her, began to destroy Gladys's health. She started drinking heavily. Her heart began to fail. In August 1958, while Elvis was serving in the army in Germany, Gladys's condition worsened rapidly. The doctors said she had hepatitis, but those who knew her understood she was dying of a broken heart. Elvis got emergency leave and flew back to Memphis, but it was too late. Gladys Love Presley died on August 14, 1958, at the age of 46. Elvis collapsed at her funeral. Not metaphorically, he literally could not stand. The strongest man most people knew became a broken child, sobbing over his mother's casket, refusing to let them close it. "Mama, I'll never get over this," he whispered to her still form. "I can't live without you." For the rest of his life, Elvis talked to Gladys every night before he went to sleep. He kept her room at Graceland exactly as she left it. He wore a lock of her hair and a locket around his neck. He never made a major decision without asking himself what Mama would want him to do. Now, 15 years later, on a Las Vegas stage in the middle of the night, Elvis is staring at a woman who looks exactly like the mother he lost. Silence in the showroom stretches for 30 seconds. The band members look at each other uncertainly. The audience begins to murmur. Something is clearly wrong. Elvis takes a step toward the edge of the stage, his eyes never leaving the woman in the blue dress. She's still smiling at him with that familiar, loving expression. She raises her hand slightly, the same gentle wave Gladys used to give him from the audience at his early concerts. "Mama?" Elvis whispers into the microphone so quietly that only the people in the first few rows can hear him. The woman shakes her head gently, but her smile grows warmer. She places her hand over her heart, then extends it toward Elvis, the same gesture Gladys used to make when she wanted to send him love from across a room. Security notices the disturbance and starts moving toward the woman. Elvis sees them coming and quickly speaks into the microphone. "No," he says firmly. "Don't touch her. Leave her alone." The security guards stop, confused. They've never heard Elvis give orders like this during a show. Elvis sets his microphone in its stand and walks to the very edge of the stage. He kneels down, bringing himself as close as possible to the woman in the blue dress. She leans forward slightly, and in a voice that sounds eerily like Gladys Presley's, she says 3 words that only Elvis can hear. "I'm so proud." Elvis's reaction is immediate and overwhelming. Tears begin streaming down his face. His shoulders shake with emotion. For a moment, he looks like he might collapse right there on the stage. The woman continues to speak, her voice barely above a whisper but somehow carrying perfectly to Elvis's ears despite the distance and the presence of 2,000 other people. "You've done so good, baby. You've given so much joy to so many people. I know it's been hard. I know you've been hurting, but look at all the love in this room. Look at all these people whose lives you've touched." Elvis can barely breathe. He's sobbing openly now, not caring that thousands of people are watching him have what appears to be an emotional breakdown. "I never left you," the woman continues. "I've been with you every step of the way. Every song you sang, every person you helped, every moment of kindness you showed. I was there. I'm always there." The audience doesn't know what's happening, but they can feel the profound emotion radiating from the stage. Some people start crying just from witnessing Elvis's raw emotion, even though they can't hear what's causing it. "Mama, I miss you so much," Elvis manages to whisper, his voice breaking. "I know, baby, but you're not alone. You never were, and all the love you've been looking for, it's been inside you all along. It's been there since the day you were born." The woman stands slowly, her eyes never leaving Elvis's face. She blows him a kiss, the same way Gladys used to say goodbye when Elvis left for tours. "Sing for them, honey," she says. "Sing like you used to sing for me, from your heart. They need it, and so do you." Then she turns and begins walking toward the exit. Elvis watches her go, tears still flowing down his cheeks. "Wait," he calls out, struggling to his feet. "Please don't go." But the woman doesn't stop. She reaches the back of the showroom and disappears through the doors, leaving Elvis alone on stage with his grief, his gratitude, and 2,000 confused but deeply moved witnesses. Elvis stands at the edge of the stage for nearly 2 minutes trying to compose himself. The audience waits patiently, sensing that they're witnessing something sacred. Finally, Elvis walks back to the microphone. His face is streaked with tears, his voice thick with emotion, but there's something different about him, something lighter. "Ladies and gentlemen," he says, "I apologize for that interruption. Sometimes life surprises you in the most beautiful ways." He picks up his guitar, something he rarely does during his Vegas shows, and sits on the edge of the stage in a completely informal pose. "I want to sing something for someone very special who used to love this song," he says. "This is for my mama." Elvis begins to play "He Knows Just What I Need," a gospel song Gladys used to sing while doing household chores. But he's not performing it, he's living it. Every word carries the weight of 15 years of grief transformed into gratitude. His voice is different tonight, deeper, more vulnerable, more connected to something beyond entertainment. He's not Elvis Presley the superstar. He's Elvis Presley the son, singing a love song to his mother's memory. The audience is completely silent, understanding instinctively that they're witnessing something rare and precious. Many people are crying openly, moved by Elvis's raw emotion and the spiritual power of his performance. When the song ends, Elvis looks up toward the back of the room where the woman disappeared. "Thank you," he whispers, so quietly that only the people in the very front can hear him. The rest of the show is unlike anything Elvis has ever performed in Las Vegas. He abandons his usual set list and sings from his heart. Gospel songs, spiritual numbers, deep album cuts that mean something personal to him. He talks between songs about love, loss, and the importance of treasuring the people who matter most. "You know," he tells the audience during one of these impromptu speeches, "we spend so much time chasing things we think will make us happy. Fame, money, success. But the only thing that really matters is love. The love we give, the love we receive, and the love that never dies even when the people we love aren't physically with us anymore." The show runs nearly 3 hours, twice as long as usual. Nobody leaves, nobody complains. They understand they're witnessing Elvis Presley at his most authentic, and they're grateful to be there. When the show finally ends, Elvis doesn't leave the stage immediately. He stands there for several minutes, looking out at the audience with an expression of profound peace. "Thank you," he says finally. "Thank you for letting me share something real with you tonight. God bless you all." Backstage, everyone is talking about Elvis's transformation. The band members, the crew, the hotel staff, they've all seen something they can't quite explain but will never forget. Joe Esposito, Elvis's road manager, approaches him in his dressing room. "Boss," Joe says carefully, "that woman, do you want us to try to find out who she was?" Elvis looks at himself in the mirror, his eyes still red from crying, but somehow brighter than they've been in years. "No, Joe," he says quietly. "I know exactly who she was." Over the next several weeks, Elvis's performances take on a new quality. He's more present, more connected, more willing to be vulnerable with his audiences. He talks openly about his mother, about loss, about the healing power of love and music. The mysterious woman in the blue dress becomes Vegas legend. Dozens of people in the audience that night swear they saw her, but no one can agree on exactly what she looked like. Security cameras from that night show Elvis's emotional breakdown clearly, but they show only an empty seat where the woman was supposed to be sitting. Some people claim it was a publicity stunt. Others insist Elvis was having some kind of breakdown. But those who knew Elvis best, who understood his spiritual side and his deep connection to his mother, believe something else entirely. They believe Gladys Presley found a way to come back one more time to tell her son what he needed to hear most, that she was proud of him, that he wasn't alone, and that the love they shared was stronger than death. Elvis never spoke publicly about what happened that night. When reporters asked, he would only say, "Sometimes God sends us exactly what we need, exactly when we need it." But privately, to his closest friends, Elvis would say, "Mama came to see me sing. She wanted me to know she's been watching over me all these years. She wanted me to know it's okay to let go of some of the pain and just..." Charlie Hodge, Elvis's spiritual confidant, said that night marked a turning point in Elvis's relationship with grief. Before that night, Elvis carried his mother's death like a weight, Charlie recalled years later. After that night, he carried her love like a light. The change wasn't dramatic enough to save Elvis from the demons that would ultimately claim his life 4 years later. But for a period after that mysterious encounter, those closest to him saw glimpses of the joy and peace that had been buried under years of grief and fame. Some nights, when Elvis was alone at Graceland, he would sit at the piano and play the gospel songs Gladys had taught him. And sometimes, just sometimes, he would smile and say, "I know you're listening, Mama. I can feel you right here with me." Whether the woman in the blue dress was a miraculous visitation, a psychological manifestation of Elvis's need for healing, or simply a stranger who bore an uncanny resemblance to Gladys Presley, one thing is certain: that night changed Elvis in ways that everyone around him could see. He began calling his friends more often just to tell them he loved them. He started spending more quality time with Lisa Marie, his daughter, understanding perhaps for the first time how precious and fleeting family connections could be. He also began incorporating more spiritual elements into his performances, not just gospel songs, but moments of genuine spiritual connection with his audiences. "Elvis always had that spiritual quality," said Kathy Westmoreland, one of his backup singers. But after that night in June of '73, it became more intentional, more purposeful, like he understood that his gift was meant to heal people, not just entertain them. The story of Elvis and the mysterious woman spread throughout Las Vegas and eventually around the world. It became part of Elvis folklore, debated and analyzed by fans, biographers, and skeptics. But for Elvis, the truth of what happened was simple. Love never dies, and sometimes, when we need it most, the people we've lost find a way to remind us that we're still connected to them. On quiet nights at Graceland, Elvis would often look at the portrait of Gladys that hung in the music room. Sometimes visitors would catch him having one-sided conversations with the painting, updating his mother on his life, his struggles, his small victories. "I'm trying to be the man you raised me to be, Mama," he would say. "Some days are harder than others, but I remember what you taught me. I remember that I'm loved, and that means I got something to give to other people." This is creative storytelling inspired by Elvis's well-documented spiritual experiences and his lifelong grief over his mother's death. While this specific encounter is fictional, it represents the kind of healing that many people who knew Elvis hoped he would find. The truth is that Elvis Presley spent his entire adult life trying to fill the hole left by Gladys's death. He sought comfort in food, in pills, in the adoration of strangers, in romantic relationships that could never quite replace his first and deepest love. But according to those who were closest to him, There were moments, rare but unmistakable, when Elvis seemed to find peace with his loss. Moments when he seemed to understand that his mother's love hadn't died with her. It had simply transformed into something eternal. Whether that understanding came through a supernatural encounter, through spiritual growth, or through the simple passage of time, the result was the same. Elvis Presley, the lost boy who never got over losing his mama, occasionally found his way back to the joy and purpose she had always wanted him to have. Las Vegas, Nevada. International Hotel, June 23rd, a night when Elvis Presley stopped being a performer and became a son again, if only for a moment. A night when love transcended death and healing transcended fame. Whether you believe in angels, in the power of grief to create visions, or in the simple human need to find meaning in loss, one thing is certain: that night proved that some connections are too strong to be broken by death. And maybe, just maybe, love really is stronger than anything else in this world. If this story moved you, if it reminded you of the people you've lost and the love that survives them, I need you to do something right now. Subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell, because next week we're exploring another moment when Elvis found healing in the most unexpected places. Drop a comment and tell me, do you believe our loved ones can still reach us after they're gone? Have you ever had an experience that felt like more than just your imagination? Share this video with someone who has lost someone important. Let them know that love doesn't end with death, it just changes form. Because here's the truth that Elvis's story teaches us. We carry our loved ones with us always, in our memories, in our choices, in the love we give to others. Death ends a life, but it doesn't end a relationship. The music is bigger than any of us, but love is the biggest thing of all, and love never dies. Thank you for joining me on this emotional journey. I'll see you in the next one, where we'll discover another truth about the healing power of connection. Remember, you are loved. You have always been loved. And that love lives on in you, waiting to be shared with the world. Thanks for watching.